Welcome to r/Topposts, where we share some of the most emotional and gripping stories from Reddit. Today, I want to tell you a heartbreaking tale from Heartbroken in Ohio, a story about love, loss, and betrayal. It's about a woman whose life changed forever because of something unimaginable involving her husband and her beloved dog. This story isn't easy to hear, but it's important. It's raw, serious, and filled with emotions that many pet owners and spouses can relate to. Sometimes, the people closest to us can hurt us in ways we never expect. And sometimes, those wounds cut deeper than we think. Our storyteller opens up about her life before everything fell apart. A life filled with hope, love, and the kind of joy that only a loyal dog can bring. But lurking beneath the surface, tension was growing. What started as small cracks eventually led to a tragedy she never saw coming. As you listen, I want you to hold on to the hope that even in the darkest moments, there is strength to be found. This is My Husband Killed My Dog. I've been married to my husband for 5 years now. When we first met, everything seemed perfect. The kind of storybook romance that made friends and family smile. We shared dreams, plans, and most importantly, a deep connection. Max, my dog, was there from the beginning. I got him 2 years before we got married, and from day one, he was more than a pet to me. He was family. Max was a 6-year-old Labrador mix with a heart full of love and a personality that could brighten anyone's day. He was playful and gentle, always ready for a walk or to curl up beside me when life got stressful. Max was the glue that held our small family together, especially during the hard days when my husband and I disagreed. Our daily routine revolved around Max. Morning walks, feeding time, and quiet evenings on the couch. He was a constant source of comfort, and I honestly don't know how I would have gotten through some of those days without him. But despite the love and laughter, cracks started to show between my husband and me. The arguments began small. Disagreements about chores, money, or how we spent our time. Sometimes it felt like he was distant, like he was carrying a weight I couldn't see. I tried to ignore it, focusing instead on the moments we shared with Max. He always seemed to sense when we were upset and would nudge us to put the problems aside, reminding us that some things mattered more than pride or anger. Looking back, I can see the tension was growing, but I never imagined it would lead to what happened next. Max was the heart of our home, and losing him would mean losing more than just a pet. It would mean losing a piece of ourselves. The morning started like any other. I woke up early, feeling the familiar warmth of Max curled up beside me. My husband was already in the kitchen making coffee, and for a moment, everything seemed calm. But there was an unspoken tension in the air. A quiet distance between my husband and me that had been growing over the past few weeks. I tried to shake off the feeling as I got ready for the day. Max wagged his tail when I clipped on his leash, eager for our usual morning walk. We stepped outside into the cool air, and for a little while, the world seemed normal. My husband sat on the porch, watching us, but didn't say much. When we got back, I went straight to the kitchen to start breakfast. That's when I heard a loud crash from the living room. It was sudden and sharp, like something heavy falling and hitting the floor. My heart jumped, and I rushed to see what had happened. Max was lying on the floor, motionless. I couldn't believe my eyes. His breathing was shallow, and there was a small pool of blood near his head. Panic surged through me as I knelt beside him, gently touching his fur, trying to wake him. His eyes fluttered open briefly, confused and scared. I called out to my husband, my voice trembling. "What happened? What did you do?" He looked at me with guilt written all over his face. "It was an accident," he said quietly, avoiding my gaze. "I didn't mean for this to happen. I tripped over the rug while carrying the vacuum and accidentally hit Max. I'm so sorry." His voice cracked, but there was something in his eyes I couldn't understand, a mixture of fear and something darker. I wanted to believe him, to hold on to that tiny hope that Max would be okay. I grabbed a towel and gently wrapped Max, then called the emergency vet. My hands were shaking, so badly I could barely dial the number. At the vet, everything happened too fast. The vet took Max for an exam while I sat in the waiting room, my chest tightening with every second. When the vet came back, her face was serious, and I knew the news wouldn't be good. "There's severe trauma to Max's skull and brain," she said softly. "Unfortunately, his injuries are too serious. He passed away a few minutes ago." The world seemed to stop. I sat there, numb, as tears streamed down my face. I kept thinking about all the moments we had shared, the walks, the lazy afternoons, the way Max would greet me at the door with such joy. And now, he was gone. I looked at my husband, who was standing quietly in the corner. He didn't cry. He didn't say much. He just stared at the floor. The man I thought I knew, the man I had trusted with my heart and my dog, was now a stranger to me. In those moments, everything changed. I felt a mix of shock, anger, and unbearable sadness. I couldn't understand how something so tragic could happen in my own home. How could he be so careless? Or was it more than that? The next few days were a blur. I kept replaying the accident in my mind, trying to find answers. My husband apologized over and over, but his words felt empty. There was no way to bring Max back. No way to erase the pain. I cried myself to sleep every night, clutching Max's favorite toy like it was a lifeline. The house felt hollow without him, every corner a painful reminder of what I had lost. And through it all, my husband seemed distant, almost detached. He went through the motions, but didn't truly seem to grieve. That coldness haunted me, raising doubts I couldn't ignore. How could someone hurt a dog so deeply and not break apart in the aftermath? The days after Max died were some of the darkest I've ever lived through. Every morning I woke up expecting to hear his paws clicking across the floor, or feel him jump on the bed to nudge me awake. Instead, there was just silence, the kind that stretches across your chest and makes it hard to breathe. I couldn't sleep. I'd toss and turn for hours, haunted by the image of Max lying motionless on the floor. Some nights I'd sit in the living room, staring at the spot where it happened, replaying everything in my mind. His eyes, the blood, the way my husband stood there, still, emotionless, as if he was watching a movie instead of real life. I cried constantly, in the shower, in the car, on the couch with Max's collar in my hands. The emptiness was unbearable. I wanted my husband to comfort me, to share in the pain, but he stayed quiet. Not just quiet, distant. He didn't cry, didn't talk about Max unless I forced the conversation. And when he did, his responses were short and cold. I said I was sorry. What else do you want me to do? He told me one night when I begged him to open up. I didn't want him to fix it. I just wanted him to feel something, to show me that Max meant something to him too. But he didn't, and that broke me even more. Our relationship started unraveling fast. I was grieving and broken, and he was irritated by my pain. We fought constantly. I accused him of not caring, of being careless, even cruel. He accused me of being dramatic, of using Max's death to punish him. Every conversation turned into a fight. Every silence turned into distance. We were two strangers living under the same roof, held together by a marriage license but nothing else. My friends tried to support me. My best friend, Claire, came over a few times to check on me. She brought wine, hugged me tight, and cried with me when I couldn't stop shaking. My mom, on the other hand, tried to stay neutral. "It was an accident," she said gently. "Don't let this tear your marriage apart." But she didn't see what I saw. She didn't feel the coldness that followed Max's death. I told my husband we should try therapy, grief counseling, marriage counseling, anything. He refused, said he didn't see the point. "You're the one who can't let it go," he said. That hurt more than anything. Was I supposed to let go of Max like he was an old shoe? A forgotten habit. The worst part was the loneliness. Not just being without Max, but being completely alone in my pain, while living with someone who should have been there for me the most. I'd lie in bed next to my husband and feel like I was on another planet. I kept asking myself, was I overreacting? Was it really just a tragic accident? Or was something deeper and darker at play? Something I didn't want to believe. I didn't know what was worse, losing Max or realizing that the person I married didn't seem to care that he was gone. As the weeks passed, my mind kept replaying old memories, things I'd ignored, brushed off, or explained away. At the time, they felt like nothing. Now, they felt like puzzle pieces I couldn't stop fitting together. I remembered how annoyed my husband used to get with Max, especially when he barked or shed too much. He never hit him, but he'd raise his voice, mutter things under his breath. "This damn dog," he'd say, rolling his eyes, slamming doors. I'd always tell him Max was family. He'd just shake his head. Once, after an argument, I came home to find Max locked in the garage. No food, no water, just sitting there, tail tucked. My husband said it was because Max had peed on the carpet. I believed him then. Now I wasn't so sure. The day Max died, something about my husband's face didn't sit right. His apology felt practiced, his explanation too neat. And the blood. There was more of it than I could explain from a simple fall. I started noticing other things too. He didn't want to talk about Max. He changed the subject every time I brought him up. He deleted the security footage from the living room camera because it was too painful to watch. That made my stomach twist. Was this really an accident? Or was it something more? I didn't want to believe he could hurt Max, not on purpose. But doubt crept in. Slowly at first, then all at once. I'd find myself watching him when he wasn't looking, wondering what was going on in his mind. Was he feeling guilt? Or just annoyed that I was still mourning? The man I married, was he ever who I thought he was? Or had I just never seen this part of him before? Every instinct in my body told me something was off. And once that seed of suspicion was planted, it grew fast. One night, unable to carry the weight any longer, I finally asked him directly. "I need to know," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "Was it really an accident?" He looked up from his phone, surprised. "What are you talking about?" "Max, that day, something doesn't feel right. You haven't grieved. You haven't talked. You just moved on. And I can't." His expression hardened. "I told you already. I tripped. It was an accident. You're the one who keeps bringing it up. Let it go." I stared at him, stunned. Let it go. He was family. He rubbed his face, suddenly agitated. What do you want from me? I didn't mean for it to happen. I messed up. But you're acting like I killed him on purpose. The silence that followed was sharp and heavy. And for the first time, I realized something. Even if it was an accident, his reaction afterward was almost worse. The indifference, the coldness, the way he shut down instead of comforting me. That said more than words ever could. I walked into our bedroom and sat alone on the edge of the bed, thinking about everything. The years we spent together, the way we used to laugh, the plans we made, and Max. Always Max. Could I forgive him? Could I keep loving someone who didn't seem to care that I lost the one thing that brought me joy every single day? I didn't know the answer, but I knew this. I couldn't keep living like this. Not in silence, not in doubt. Maybe it was time to ask for space, or counseling, or maybe something more final. All I knew for sure was that Max deserved better. And maybe, so did I. I knew I couldn't carry the grief and suspicion alone anymore. So I reached out. I started therapy, not just for the trauma of losing Max, but to process everything. My marriage, my doubts, the coldness that had crept into my home. Speaking the truth out loud, even to a stranger, helped. My therapist didn't have answers, but she helped me ask the right questions. I asked my husband to come with me. He agreed, reluctantly. Our first couples session was tense. He sat with his arms crossed, barely speaking. When he did, he focused more on how I'd changed since Max died, rather than on what had happened. The therapist tried to mediate, but it was clear. We were grieving different things. I began creating space for myself. I put together a small memorial for Max in the backyard. A stone, his collar, and a photo of us under the tree where he used to nap. I'd sit there some evenings, talk to him, cry and let go. Just a little at a time. Justice? I don't know if there is any. There's no undoing what happened. I still don't have proof that it was intentional, but the way my husband handled everything afterward left scars I can't ignore. Closure, for me, might simply mean choosing peace. Choosing to honor Max's memory by not letting his death destroy me too. Losing Max shattered my heart, but what truly broke me was realizing the person beside me wasn't who I thought he was. Grief reveals truths we never wanted to see. To anyone facing loss, silence, or betrayal, trust your instincts. Speak your truth. You're not overreacting for feeling deeply. I don't have all the answers yet, but I'm learning to live again. One breath, one memory at a time. Max deserved love every day of his life, and so do you. Sometimes the real tragedy isn't what's lost, it's what's left behind.
That wraps up today's episode of r/Payback. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to subscribe for more epic stories.